Our local police department will not ever cooperate with ICE.
When did Democrats stop caring about America? I mean, when I was a kid, I thought they were the party that cared more than anybody. But in the last 10 years, as many of us have been red-pilled amongst their chaos, they just keep showing how evil they really are. The mayor of Chicago came out and outright said that no matter what, his officers will not assist ICE in arresting these illegals, these invaders that are poisoning the culture of our country and literally turning it into the place that they would run away from. Before I go too far into that, check out the clip.
On federal immigration enforcement, one of the things LA has done is has continued to be a target specifically of military force in immigration enforcement, is set up local police perimeters around schools to shield students from federal agents without warrants. Have you considered, or would you consider, setting up CPD perimeters around public spaces in Chicago, including schools, or does that not fall under the department's purview?
Excuse me. Again, it's unconscionable at a time in which so many working people and poor people need government to show up for them, that this administration, the Trump administration, has caused so much consternation and division. Look, we are a welcoming city ordinance. Our local police department will not ever cooperate with ICE. Whatever their constitutional authority is, that is obviously relegated to the Trump administration.
He literally stated that whatever their constitutional authority is, that's the umbrella term that he is using, acknowledging that they have constitutional authority, which essentially means that he, quote unquote, is not going to follow the Constitution, which we already knew. They've already changed so many laws in the last few years that clearly the Constitution was not a priority to them. Otherwise, we would have never gotten in this position to begin with. But it's a little bit more bold than usual. This is akin to when Biden was president and they started to, levy legal warfare against Trump. This is an outright public display of resentment and unwillingness to follow the social order that makes our country what it is. And I don't think people really understand how important it is that when we bring people to our country, which we should do to a degree, but when we bring them here, we should bring people that want our values. Anybody that is against freedom of speech, against the right to bear arms, against any of our core foundational rights, should not get to then practice those rights in our country. So for example, if he doesn't want to follow the constitutional authority that ICE has, and if he doesn't want to listen to the president, then in that same light, he is throwing away his power. He is stating that he does not believe in it. If he's going to stay in office and he's going to stay in control of one of the most important cities in America, then he should have to abide by the Constitution and what it means. If you are somebody that is against free speech and that is against the freedom of thought, the exercise of religion, then you then should not get to practice it. You don't get to tell me that what I say is hate speech and try to take me off of every platform and destroy my livelihood, and at the same time think that you're protected by free speech when you do something that might offend or disrespect somebody else. It needs to be a level playing field, which is the reason that we're not a traditional democracy. We are a constitutional republic, and that is super important. The Constitution is the law of the land. You don't get to vote away my freedoms. No matter what you think, that is not how this works. So the mayor of Chicago has essentially said that he doesn't care about the Constitution. He's essentially just pissing on the Constitution in public and blaming it on conservatives. And it seems to be the playbook, whether we're looking at LA, if we're looking at Dallas, if we're looking at Atlanta, all of these cities that are starting to be overrun by this communist propaganda are doing very similar measures where they no longer care about the proper way to handle things. Trump makes a ruling and their judges come out and just immediately strike it down. This is not the way the country is supposed to work. We need our leaders, even if they don't agree with the president, to still acknowledge the Constitution. The Constitution is the only thing that should be acknowledged. When it comes push to shove, your city ordinance does not matter. It just doesn't. At the end of the day, we could get rid of every city ordinance that exists all over the country. It would be a little bit of a culture shock to everybody that's so used to these communist tendencies. But we could get rid of them and live just fine and use our Constitution as the one and only law of the land. But for some reason, Democrats have this idea that to make America great, which is the whole idea of the Trump movement, but to really do that, you have to get rid of America. But none of these people actually want to move to the countries that they're trying to turn us into. Every single time somebody comments on one of my reels saying something about socialism or communism, I always say, Venezuela and Cuba are definitely going to want you there. Why not? Go help. Go contribute to their paradise and utopia. I've had people respond to me when I say that as if them stating that they want this to be a socialist country doesn't mean that they're anti-American. They still want to live in America. They just don't want America to be America while they live in it, which is the most insane, outright retarded statement that a person could make. If you hate the foundation of this country, that's fine. Leave. We are allowed to disagree. If you're a Protestant and you're debating with a Catholic, or if you're a Jew debating with a Muslim, that's totally fine. But if your beliefs are in direct contradiction with the Constitution of this country, then we don't need to listen to you. None of your opinions matter anymore. If your beliefs are at a crossroads where you think that you're allowed to commit crimes based on it, then you don't get to be here. This is a country that was founded on a moral principle of classic traditional liberalism, which is not what the modern liberal mind virus actually is. If our founding fathers were around today, none of these people would call them liberal. And that's proven just a few years ago when they were taking down their statues and literally prosecuting people, calling them racist for wanting to support it. They wanted to destroy flags, but yet literally bring in a communist utopian rainbow flag that is, or I said utopian, dystopian rainbow flag that is symbolically representative of a minority of the population and intentionally does not represent everybody else. I'm going on a tangent, I'm losing my train of thought. At the end of the day, we need people in power that care about the Constitution. I think that when they are running, they should actually demonstrate their knowledge of the Constitution. Even if we disagree in the interpretations on why they believe what they believe, they should have to demonstrate that they understand the Constitution, they understand the moral framework that this country is. I mean, when we do bring somebody to our country as an immigrant, legal immigrant, they have to take a civics course. They have to understand our country. They have to understand how the government works, because we don't want people here that don't get it. And we shouldn't allow our politicians to get into positions of power that want to eradicate those foundations. It's just not the way that it's supposed to work. It's a spit in the face of every American that has spent their whole entire life doing things the right way, paying their taxes while they fucking had their money stolen and sent overseas and had all of their jobs sent away, and you just consistently made it harder and harder for the working class people to survive, Democrats, and then Republican rhinos, you as well, but all of you have contributed to this melting pot of chaos, and yet you think that the way to resolve it is to turn us into the more chaotic versions of these dystopian governments. It's sickening, it's wrong, and I really think that there should be charges brought against the mayor for treason. This is an outright treasonous statement. There's no other way to look at it. Alright, that's the end of the rant. I got another video posting in a little while. I'll see you in the next one.